Good morning. Nice of you guys to drop by.
What a piece of junk. What are you talking about?
Don't be too proud of this technological terror you've constructed.
Look, don't worry. Everything's gonna be fine. Trust me.
I don't know what all this trouble is about, but I'm sure it must be your fault. Don't get technical with me.
This bickering is pointless.
Don't everybody thank me at once.
I don't know where you get your delusions, laser brain.
I'm glad you're here to tell us these things.
How
could you even say that?
I got a bad feeling about this.
Well, come on. Everything's perfectly all right now. We're fine. We're all fine here now. Thank you. How are you?
Would you get going, you pirate?
Get in there, you big furry-o! I don't care what you smell!
I'm getting too old for this sort of thing.
If what you've told me is true, you will have gained my trust.
I like the sound of that.
Get a shuttle ready.
I don't know. Fly casual.
Shuttle Tydirium, what is your cargo and destination?
Transmission commencing.
Hello, everybody. This is your captain speaking, Captain Jim Chadwick, also known as Hey Chadwick on the forums. You'll notice that the seatbelt light has fastened and the podcast starting light has begun. Welcome again to the Shuttle Tydirium podcast. Jim Chadwick, your captain. Sitting next to me is my co-pilot, Phil. How you doing?
I'm good. Public service announcement today. Everyone remember to spay and neuter your Ewoks.
Very important, because they'll get everywhere.
Yeah, you don't want them getting out and breeding.
Right, and speaking of Ewok problems, we have Jake the Brake. He's our chief engineer.
That's
How you doing,
right.
Jake?
Oh, hey, I'm doing fantastic. Life is good, and no problems on my end tonight.
For once, all right. We also have, speaking of problems, J-Bot, our Cricky protocol droid. How you doing, J-Bot?
What was that supposed to mean? I'm a problem solver. You forgot that last bit.
Well, that's why I'm bringing you up, because you're a problem solver.
That's right. Just
You've
remember,
been doing excellent work, because Jake's got no problems.
Just remember, vote J-Bot for an Ewok-free future. Dang, I got that wrong. There goes my presidential campaign.
It was dead before it started. All right.
Get it?
Before it started.
All right. Whichever Ewok wrote my campaign speech is in big trouble.
Hey, we'll put that in the back of the T-shirt. It was dead before it started. All right. So we'll roll straight into the captain's question for the week. And I just got a simple, quick one. At least I'm thinking it's going to be. What is everybody's favorite torpedo? Should we go with J-Bot?
I was trying not to breathe this time, so
didn't want to be picked out.
I know.
Kick him forward in line.
I had my
Everybody
eyes glued to the ground and my breath was held.
Well, I think Jim knows mine. It's the ion torpedo. I've always loved ion since I first started playing the game. I don't know why. It seems like it doesn't get quite as much use in the game as normal, and it is an expensive torpedo, but I didn't realize when I first used it that it didn't work like an ion turret, which, it basically erase all the damage and just do one and an ion token. Until Jim's like, oh, no, you take all the damage. Like, oh, wait, you take all 4 dice? Yes.
Yeah,
okay, it's suddenly my favorite torpedo now is that it's essentially in a way like an assault missile, but instead of the damage dealing out, it does the one ion to all the ships that are around it, plus the heavy shot of 4 dice, whatever you get.
Which is great for missions. When you can slow someone down for a mission for 1 turn, they can only go 1 forward. Sometimes that's a make or break deal right there for the game.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, we had that in was it the last one we did? Was it last week or the one before where you're trying to make it across the map?
Yeah.
And or you had to wait a couple turns before you could do it, and it was very much a matter of my missile missed, and that was essentially the difference between me stopping that whole wing of your army. So it is very powerful.
Once, so then it was the second time,
Right? Yeah, it was that second one I think that missed. So
yeah,
but yeah, that's my favorite. I like it. It's different. I don't really see it used too often. Normally I see kind of the standard protons and things, but I do like it.
Yeah. All right, it's a good pick. I like that one too. It is very nice, particularly missions, our favorite type of stuff. Phil, I'm going to go to my trusty co-pilot. What is your favorite torpedo?
I think mine is. I think it's got to be proton torpedoes, just the classic proton torpedoes. It's not such a bad damage dealer because it has the focus to critical hit.
The native
mechanic.
built-in modifier.
A soft focus. I kind of like proton torpedoes on Horton Salm, the Y-wing pilot, PSA.
Oh yeah,
because he re-rolls blanks. So even if he just has the target lock to shoot this proton torpedo and nothing else, then he has a pretty decent chance to dish out damage. Not like that's actually a realistic build. It's tons of problems with that.
But I like the proton torpedo because if you take the most average roll of what you expect, so if you have 4 red dice, average rolls, 50% will be hits or crits. So boom, you've got those. And then you've got out of the other 2 dice, 1 blank and 1 eyeball. So if you take guidance chips and proton torpedoes, you've basically got 4 hits or crits.
Yeah.
On your straight up average roll. Of course, everybody knows averages are completely consistent in this game, but yeah, so proton torpedo is a good one. Though I did hear someone at the game store tonight call it a photon torpedo.
Oh. I can't believe anybody would ever make that mistake.
That's right, J-Bot.
I've just about had enough of you.
Photon, proton. I mean, come on. It's all looks the same. The only difference is the ones in Star Wars apparently are able to take 90-degree turns whenever you need them to. That's the magic of a proton torpedo versus a photon that just kind of goes woo, 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 through the air and loops into things somehow.
Photon torpedoes are actually fully made of energy, it seems. All right.
Yeah, I don't think we need to go into that. It's an antimatter-matter reaction.
Oh, okay.
Sounds technical, so it sounds like All right, Jake the Break, what's yours?
All right. My favorite torpedo, love-hate relationship with it. So I love it, but I hate it. I hate it because I probably never use it, but I love it because I love the thematic approach that you can take to this game, and I do like to fly casual. The seismic torpedo. So if you don't remember, this is the torpedo that, if I'm not mistaken, was shot in the Clone Wars movie by Jango Fett in the asteroid field, and although that actually may not be
that was a seismic.
That
bomb.
was a seismic bomb.
Was that a seismic bomb?
He dropped it out at the back.
Yeah.
Correct. I mean, at the very end, when he was trying to kill Obi-Wan Kenobi, he shot a torpedo at the front, and can't remember if that was actually seismic or not. But in any case, we already had the seismic bombs, seismic torpedoes. It's such a weird torpedo because it's all about destroying an obstacle. So in other words, you've got either like a debris field or you've got an asteroid, and within range 1 or 2 of your primary firing arc, you destroy the obstacle, and everything at range 1 suffers an attack die roll. So each ship suffers 1 attack die and get either a crit or a hit. But it's such a weird one to me. It's kind of neat that you get to remove an obstacle. Are there any other cards or abilities that allow you to do that in this game? I'm not sure. Yeah, so it's very unique. It's kind of out of left field. It doesn't feel like in the same vein of the X-Wing game, but I think that's why I hate it, because I always, if I ever look at a torpedo slot, I'm never really looking at seismic torpedo, but whenever I just look at the description of it, it's like, that is kind of crazy, and maybe it causes a disincentive for your opponent to get near an asteroid.
I just realized something. It was a couple of flights ago. I could have sworn I saw a bunch of dead floating Ewoks outside. And then I heard a weird and they were gone. And then J-Bot's telling me we need to order another seismic torpedo.
That is very curious.
You guys, that's a totally made up story because as we all know, sound doesn't travel in space. So that was probably just like a trash compactor or something making noise in the background. He just mistook it for one that he was watching on a movie or something.
Yeah, must have been something.
Although it's interesting that you mentioned that scene, and I don't want to go into it too much. Would you say that scene was a 20 asteroid battle or more asteroids on that one? Because that was very much, it felt like he was essentially just looping around. There was no like straight shot anywhere on the board. And when we played 20 on one board, it about felt like that.
Yeah.
Like if we went at like range 1 the entire board, it might equal that.
Yeah. You know what? I think that if you had 20 plus obstacles in one match, I would actually consider seismic torpedoes and some kind of munition.
I almost want to see seismic torpedoes on any ship that can take torpedoes and then do 20 obstacles. Because I've done 20 obstacle matches. They're pretty fun. I highly encourage anyone to just try it one time. Just, hey. Like, even if you've got, like, your regular tournament guys, like, why don't we just make it a little and more interesting? Throw 20 obstacles out. It's pretty crazy.
So, with that seismic, it's rolled like a normal one, right? Or does it have to roll?
You don't actually even roll.
You don't roll. It's like an automatic.
And
so
it's
kind
of cool.
Card to choose.
So what's its
range?
range?
1 to 2.
1 to 2.
Okay.
So it's like you automatically, at the very least, you automatically get to remove an obstacle, if nothing else, which is kind of neat.
And then every ship in range 1 rolls 1 attack die and suffers it.
Right.
So even
you can
if
hit yourself.
Yeah, you can totally hit yourself.
Hey, let me ask you this. Do you consider mines an obstacle?
No.
No? So you wouldn't be able to use this on like a mine. Okay.
Hey, wait a second. J-Bot. In our mission tonight that we're getting into later, it's considered an obstacle.
Yeah. I was actually curious about that. I was like, I wonder if Jim will pick up on that. Because wait a minute. That means I don't even worry. You don't need to worry about shields and agility. It just hits an obstacle automatically.
We'll go into that later tonight. We'll bring it up. So, yeah, I like that. Cool. Okay. I've never actually seen anyone use seismic torpedo, so
Me neither.
I should probably actually try it one time, just to, like with 20 asteroids. Anybody who can take a torpedo gets a free, seismic torpedoes just to try it out.
It's just a asteroid-filled sweeping mission. The winner of the mission is the one that can destroy the most asteroids.
No, that would be funny. That would be. Actually, there was some discussion on the Facebook page about asteroid missions where the asteroids move, and I think someone was saying, I wish I could remember who it was, but they were stating that they played with their girlfriend, wife, significant other, that basically every round before you pick dials, I think it was, or is it after?
I think it was after dials, but before activation, I believe.
Yeah. Each player, whoever had initiative, would get picked one asteroid, and they could move it in any direction, range 1 move template. And then the next player would get to move any other asteroid, range 1 move template.
Yeah, there's a lot of like random asteroid movement or player directed asteroid movement rules out there. I think that's one of the classic extra rules that people have always toyed around with. That and capture mechanics and stuff like that.
I always thought it'd be neat if you started with like a bunch of large asteroids and you rolled. If anybody knows the Warhammer, either 40K or Fantasy, scatter die, which is basically a 6-sided die with an arrow on each facing a different direction. And whatever direction the arrow is, how the die lands is how you move one direction. That way. If you do it for every asteroid, you start off with all large ones, and if they bumped into each other, they break into 2 medium ones. And you play bum 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 from the video game asteroids. That'd be hysterical. All right, so continuing on, because we actually are. This is actually a longer topic than I thought. I'm going to go with the Humble Flechette Torpedo. 2 points. 2 points for an asteroid. Torpedo. Range 2 to 3. You roll 3 red dice, which for some ships is actually more than your main gun. So like TIE Bomber, it only got 2 dice.
Right.
Y-Wings only have 2 dice. But even when you get other ships like X-Wings and such, B-Wings, maybe at range 3, boom, you don't, maybe same as your extra. You roll the 3 dice, you do whatever damage is possible. Guidance ships can maybe help, but then you add a stress as long as their hull is 4 or below, which is a lot of ships. Like when Brobots were running free, stomping on everybody, flechette torpedoes were the key to killing them, because they would always bait you with one while the other one was sneaking up on you, and then that one would bug out and run away, and the one would come up behind you. But if you would use that turn that it baited you to flechette torpedo it, it would totally be stuck, because if it was stressed and it couldn't do its action, it couldn't get away, it was screwed. So flechette torpedoes are my favorite torpedoes. Like, everyone forgets about them, no one really considered them, but when they with that stress mechanic, it was always pretty important, particularly push the limit guys and all that.
Yeah, it is,
my
it
favorite
is good
ship
against
type.
those push limit ships if you can get it off.
Yeah.
Double stress them. That really hurts them. That has always hurt them.
Yeah. Or robots just stretch them at the right moment. I love flechette torpedoes because it's like a regular attack, or maybe even better than a regular attack, and it adds a stress. So that's my favorite torpedo. Runner up is extra munitions. Yeah, honorable mention. All right. Excellent. Shall we go into our main topic?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it.
Absolutely.
All right. So we're just overall, to remind people, we're going into the CR90 campaign. We've been playing it. We've done the first mission, and then in level 2, branching, depending on who won, 2A and 2B. We've gone over those. Next up is 3A. This is the case if the CR90 has won the second mission. So the Rebels have won, which is very hard to do, but let's say they did. We've moved now to 3A. So, JBot, execute protocol mode.
Mission T3A, Satellite Uplink. The captain and crew of the CR90 have reluctantly thrown their lot in with the Rebel Alliance. Their first mission, to intercept coded Imperial transmissions at a secret deep space communications relay. Although the captain does not know what data is encrypted in the Imperial signal, the Rebel operative, an expert slicer according to Rebel command, seems confident that he can extract the data from Imperial network before trouble arrives. When they drop out of hyperspace at the coordinates provided by their source within Imperial command, the relay station is unguarded, and the Rebel Slicer works quickly to link the CR90's systems to the relay.
Network established, Captain. Now we just need to wait for the transmission.
I'm impressed. Maybe you are as good as they say.
I told you, this would be easy. The Imperials are stretched so thin in the sector, they would never think to leave a garrison this far out. When we get back to...
Sir, Imperial patrol on attack vector.
The scopes are suddenly filled with Imperial attack craft screaming towards the corvette, and alarms sound throughout the ship, sending the crew scrambling to battle stations. As the Rebel operative's face tightens, the captain knows instinctively that the data is worth the risk of staying to fight.
Charge the guns. I prepare to project shields to protect the relay. This time we're not running.
Dun dun dun.
Yay!
Yeah, exciting stuff.
So when we were going over I was briefing over the background very quickly with JBot tonight for our game. I was like, yeah, so I think there's a bunch of Rebel Twitter feeds and they need to be protected. And that's what we came up with. That's the background.
It sort of makes sense, or he's tapping into some social network
He's
something.
He's updating his Facebook. He needs a good connection.
He needs to throw up some Instagram stuff there.
He's hacking into these times. Yeah, he's hacking into the Imperial Wi-Fi network.
That's right.
What's the password?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
I always remember hearing stories of like when there was the social unrest in Egypt, or when there was that problem in Coruscant with the chow lines. But basically, the government's trying to block the internet, and the rebels are trying to bring up, their Twitter feeds to communicate with each other. So that's what I was thinking. But all right, so we have some overall. So we've got the background for it, but what is? Do we want to talk about like the mission setup?
Yeah. So let's. Jake, you want to read the mission setup?
Absolutely. All right, so the mission setup for Mission T3A is we've got the Rebels with our handy-dandy CR-90, of course, with the Captain Phil Meade. Wedge Antilles, good old Wedge, joining the fight. And he's got some proton torpedoes, and he's got an R2 astromech. And then we've got 100 squad points. Now, the Rebel player cannot field any other unique ships or upgrade cards. So Wedge is your only bro.
Yeah, feel the burn.
Feel the burn. Biggs is feeling really left out.
Yes.
Now, for the Imperials, we've got Marek Steele, who's got cluster missiles and marksmanship. Then we've got 4 Black Squadron pilots, and then we've got 100 squad points. So the Imperial player, it's noted in this scenario that the Imperial player can equip these Black Squadron pilots with upgrade cards using these 100 points. So this is one of the exceptions to the normal campaign rules. Okay, so basically the rest of the setup, you've got a 3x4 play area, and basically you're playing long ways, so long way from your opponent. Yep. The CR-90 is kind of set within range 3 of the table edge that you're at, and you're going to have 5, if I'm not mistaken. Am I right? Yeah, 5 satellite tokens in the play area, in your play area. So 1, 2, 3. That's like at range 5. Band. Correct. And there's 5 different range bands basically kind of on your play area. So at range 1, you've got to have some kind of satellite left or right of you in that entire range. Then at range 2, you got to have a satellite, and so on and so forth, all the way up to the 5th. So the Imperial player then just places kind of at the opposite end of the board. And then what the heck are those satellites? Well, those satellites are obstacles. They can be attacked. You can target lock them, damage, destroy them. And they have shields as if they were Rebel ships. So each satellite has a hull of 2 and an agility value of 1 because, as we all know, Imperial pilots can't hit the side of a barn. So stationary satellite, they still has an evasion value. So,
well, okay, I want to go on a couple things here just to pause you. One, I want to say that the play area 3x4. All right, at this point, I am really sick of non-standard play areas. Like, is it?
Yeah, no kidding.
I got 3x6, but 3x4. I mean, are you kidding me? Do they make a map for 3x4?
Yeah, the thing that bothers me the most about this is it's 3x4, but you must put the CR-90 basically 8 inches, 6 to 8 inches from one edge, and then the Imperial player can cut in another 3 to 4 inches. There's your foot of space right there. I know they wanted the range brackets and stuff for the satellites, but just by saying, hey, put one from 1 to 4, and you can put 2 in one range bracket as long as they're not, they keep the other 1 to 2 ranges from each other. Probably would have worked just as fine.
But, yeah, that's a good point.
But whatever. They're the experts on me.
Well, I mean, some of their scenarios can get pretty screwy.
Yeah, I mean, if they want us to do this scenario, where are the 3x4 mats? There's only 3x3 mats.
Everybody get your 3x4 mats out for this one mission.
Or your 1x3 extension.
Right, yeah. There's a 1x3 extension. I mean, I could walk over and get one of those like mats for Magic, but the game's already getting close enough. I figured I wouldn't want to show everybody obviously what it's doing.
I wonder if they even had mats when this came out. Were there any standard extra mats?
They did.
Or
I don't think they did.
Or
I think they came out later.
Were they still working on X-Wing star tiles? Does anybody remember those?
Yeah. Does anyone remember star tiles?
I think it might be.
No, I don't. Explain.
So, in the old days of X-Wing, the very young days, the game was new and fresh. FFG announced that they were going to produce a gaming surface area that was modular, and what they came up with was these tiles. I think they were. Jim, do you know if they were plastic? They must have been plastic, right?
They didn't actually really specify much about what it was made, and I think actually that came out to be one of the particular issues.
Yeah, I think they had issues with that. So there's like pretty much a foot square tile, right?
Yeah, and some of them were space, and and they were flippable, so you could like flip them both sides, and some of them had like Alderaan.
Yeah. So you'd be able to like assemble your play area, and you could make maps like this,
or the Death Star
3x4 map. You know, with these, you can make all different play area sizes and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is that they never ended up making them because it was a terrible idea.
Well, no, it was the production quality of the tiles were so crappy that they were bendable and warpable and such.
Yeah.
So that basically it was a nice idea that one by one you'd have space, or you'd have like I think it would take 2 tiles to make at least half a Death Star.
That sounds nice, but also you have to put these together and keep them together every time you play.
Yeah.
Do you know if they had like interlocking things or something?
No, they didn't have anything interlocking.
Oh, that was going to be a nightmare, dude. You think like bumping ships is bad?
Yeah.
Try bumping your whole board and it just falls apart.
Well, you do realize what they were going for, right? They were just going to make those like kindergarten floor stress mats and just going to put star patterns on top of them, right? This puzzle edge.
That would have been a much better.
That actually sounds like it would have worked better.
And the thing that's funny about that is you can, don't ask me why I know this. You can go to Harbor Freight and get a pack of 4 of those for pretty dirt cheap. So if you actually do want to make your own floor mat, and they have edges that go on them to make them not have the puzzle, if that makes sense. So,
I actually am interested in where in your programming you have this information.
I'm a font of information.
Oh, and what size? Because I wonder, because for people like tournament organizers that are trying to run a large event at Gen Con or something, what is the best material to use for these 3x3 playmat or 3x3 areas? So that you can get these playmats. I'll have to ask you more offline about that. Excellent.
Well, I mean, I think there are people who actually make custom, like just the same mat. What is it, mouse pad material? I think there's same people that do that. They could probably crank out one that's there about 3x4. But
I'm worried about
the ones from Harbor Freight. And I don't know if everybody knows what Harbor Freight is, but they're roughly 2 feet by 2 feet square. So they'd make a nice 4x4 or 4x6 gaming table if anybody is so inclined. But they're just stone gray, so you'd have to do your own artwork on top of them.
All right. And also, Captain's Corner, for anyone who actually has done or looking for a cheap way to do things. I even, because they didn't have a 6x4 mat and I only had one, when I did my first demo at a big gaming convention, I got a plastic tablecloth from Walmart for like a couple bucks, and I took an old paintbrush and some paint, and I flicked like white stars and different colored stars, and just kind of flicked paint to create like a background. And so if you're looking for a super cheap, I used painter's tape, and I kind of made a 3x6 play area and just taped the plastic tabletop down on a table for game day, and it was good enough for government work. All right, so that's all right. So after
a nice little tangent
on that, my next tangent I want to go off on.
Oh gosh,
is it so? What does it mean that the satellites have shields like rebel ships? What the heck does that mean? It's got 2 hull and 1 evade.
I think as if they are rebel ships is really applying to all the things that they said there. So they can be attacked, target lock, damaged, destroyed, and have shields as if they're rebel ships.
Correct. Not just have shields. It's the whole sentence.
It's the whole thing.
All right, but
yep.
So do these things have shields or do they not?
They do, and they have 2 shields. So
where is it listed?
Geez, Jim, if you let me read the rest of the
all right,
uplink.
God, Captain. Oh,
God. So if you would like me to skip ahead, the answer to your question is
no. I'll be patient. Continue on normally.
You know what? It's important, and you're the captain, and I'm just your mere engineer. So I'm going to go ahead and give it to you. I'm going to give it to you straight, my friend. A satellite cannot have more than 2 shields at any time, so you got a maximum of 2 shields on these satellites. So
and that's down to the special rules subsection. So, all right,
you need engineering. You need engineering glasses to read that rule.
We got to read subsections. That's not a captain's duty. So,
yeah, just stick to flying the ship. The engineer and the robots will take care of shooting guns and make sure the engines don't blow up and all the technical stuff.
Well, I don't know about the shooting guns part. You can take that part. I'll just do the engine part.
Oh yeah, of course. I mean, that's what I figured everybody.
Yeah. Okay, so we've got 5. Here's your story again. You got the 5 satellites. You got your CR-90s just sitting there. Captain Phil is worried, but he's got these 5 satellites. He's trying to get the Imperial transmissions. Now, you can have 2 shields on these satellites. They have a hull value of 2, and again, Imperials have bad aim, so they have an agility of 1. So, when a satellite is destroyed, it actually does more damage than just have the satellite destroyed. I know you're just wondering what. Jake, what could it be? J-Bot, aren't you wondering what the damage could be by losing a satellite?
Unfortunately, I know very well what blowing up a satellite does. I'm not in total agreement with it, but I know quite well what it does. But you can tell everybody.
Absolutely. And you know what? Well, I think we should touch on that too, because I think it's a really unique, kind of a strange punishment. But basically, when a satellite is destroyed, you remove the satellite, yes, and you take, and then you, as the Imperial player, deal 1 face-up damage card to either the fore or the aft section of the CR-90. Holy heck, man!
Back.
So yeah, basically, this is like I don't even know how to thematically or canonically make this work. It's like the slicer who is trying to hack into the satellite.
Yeah, geez. His console's exploding. It's an exploding console.
Yeah, J-Bot, what happened to you?
So, nice. All right, guys, Slicer, take care of it. Oh, here they come. We'll fight them off. Beep, beep, beep. Oh, they took out one of the satellites. Oh, no, they destroyed the coffee maker. It happened to be on one of the load-bearing beams. And there's people on the front of the ship are dying and lose 2 holes. The first thing he blew up had a cascade failure to the front. So apparently, like I said, the coffee maker in the back end of it blew up and took out an entire medical wing in the front half of the ship because of it.
It was structural damage. So he had full shields, and he got 1 crit in the back, which was, basically deal 2 face down damage in the front, and then flip his face down. So, I don't know what feedback that did.
Whatever that Slicer did, he's fired because I don't know what subsystem he tried to route whatever through, but I have a gripe with this. I mean, come on,
maybe because I've never actually seen a slicer in Star Wars, but maybe we are just all completely wrong about Star Wars and slicing. Maybe there's no such thing as Wi-Fi. Maybe you actually have to have a guy out on a tether all the way to the satellite.
That's right.
And so maybe they all have this pure oxygen flow to their tanks and to the satellite. So when the satellite goes up, there's an oxygen reaction and explosion all the way to the CR-90. That's the only thing I can think of.
Apparently the really good slicer is actually a group of 5 slicers, and he's just the coordinator inside.
It's J-Bot, it's the royal we. Basically. So let me ask you a question then, on this same vein, J-Bot, because it sounds like you've got some firsthand experience. Do you think it's important as the Rebel player to protect those satellites?
Absolutely. I mean,
all right,
that's the main point here.
Great. So then let me go ahead and tell you how you might be able to do so.
Great transition, Jake.
Yes. Thank you very much. Let me go into protecting these satellites. Okay, so when your CR-90 performs a recover action, you may either recover one of its own shields if you want to be a greedy little bum, or you can assign that shield token to 1 or more satellites. So that's actually kind of nice because obviously at the same time, I don't know how much it helps because it only has 2 shields, and I feel like that could be stripped away pretty easily. But in any case, the Rebel player may recover the CR-90 shields, assign the shields to the satellites, or any combination of the 2. So potentially you could do both, your shields and the satellite shields. In addition, kind of in the same vein, if you perform the reinforce action, you can actually assign the reinforce token to a satellite instead of to the section of the CR90. And for anyone who can't remember what reinforce does, Phil, can you explain what the reinforce action is?
It's pretty much a evade token that when you spend it doesn't go away. So it's one fewer hit or crit result every time someone shoots at you.
Perfect.
Every attack. So if there's a TIE swarm attacking you, you get one evade result for every attack.
Right. So the only way you can visualize this is, our awesome slicers somehow are being able to have those satellites gyrate.
Oh yeah. You were reinforcing.
They're letting the satellites just gyrate a little bit too much, and those Imperials, the Academy is just failing us today, guys.
Yeah, I don't
just
really know
cannot
how you
hit them. But in any case, those stationary satellites are just harder to hit.
Now I have to say the reinforce action. I'm not sure if anybody's seen the old Robotech TV show in the first season, which was, the humans first get this alien technology. Well, things go crazy, but as the aliens are attacking, they develop this barrier point defense system where basically with a trackball, these ladies that are on the bridge called the bridge bunnies can move this mouse, and they can get the force field that used to cover the whole ship to only cover now these like 3 little like circles. And so they've got to move their little trackball to exactly where the missiles and enemy lasers are hitting to be a little barrier point defense system to kind of block the attacks. And that's totally what I see when I see reinforce.
Dude, that's awesome, and I feel like I got to install that on the shuttle.
Yeah.
So you're saying you see like a bunch of women moving a mouse around whenever. Okay.
Little bridge bunny's like, oh, we're gonna move it. They're like playing
Dude,
mission control.
We have enough female Ewoks in the cabin to definitely get on a trackball and kind of roll around the shields. You could definitely do that.
Those are female?
Well, J-Bot informed me of that. I
did. I never really paid that close attention.
I had to wipe your memory after that. That biology lesson was horrendous.
Yeah.
All right. So, moving on.
I give you a C- for that transition.
Yeah, so what is the CR90 doing the whole time?
Well, let me tell you, because I know that you're interested as a captain would be. What is the CR90 doing? Well, my friend, the CR90 is going to sit put. CR90 does not assign a maneuver dial at all, or rather the player doesn't. Now, during the activation phase, you still activate your CR90, but you don't execute the maneuver. Instead, you just gain energy equal to the number of satellites remaining in the play area. Now, that's kind of cool. I do like that. That sounds kind of interesting. And it also gives more incentive, as if there wasn't enough already, to keep your darn satellites alive. But obviously, there's a huge incentive to do that already.
And it makes a ton of thematic sense, too, because... Oh, wait, no, it doesn't.
I was actually waiting for that. Can't wait to
Why is all your energy coming from these satellites?
Dude,
like if you weren't doing...
I'm telling you.
Get it!
The slicers or whoever, they are tethered outside of the ship. They are hooked on. They are humping these satellites, and that's, it's a life or death situation, clearly. Well, anyway, in any case, so
this is not FFG's finest work here. I guess you gotta say it, guys.
And so it's like, they really want you to work on these, and winning or losing the match is not as important. They want to restrict your energy and to cripple your ship with critical hits. If you get a single one destroyed, because if it goes slightly against you, they really want you to try to come back from this and pull it together. No,
and remember, you can't move. You can't maneuver. This is awful.
But basically, what it is it's a wedge fight. You got wedge, you got your rebel player, you got your 100 squad points, and you got an immobile brick right in the middle.
And no unique rebels.
Except for wedge. That's it.
Because why would you want those?
So
you think we want the rebels to win?
Yeah, exactly. So the rebel victory, of course, is destroy all the Imperial ships, and the Imperial victory, destroy the CR90, the Sitting Duck, or destroy all the satellites. So that's it. So let's take it away. Let's dissect this more than we already have.
Why don't you guys talk about your playthrough?
Yeah, I am actually interested.
It sounds like further problems we have with it, because I mean, should we just do playthrough?
Yeah, and then we'll talk about the problems.
Yeah. Let's go through playthrough.
All right. So,
yay, playthrough.
I'll even just go through with the list, like my list selection and design for where I play the Imperials. And so I get Merrick Steele and 4 Black Squadron TIE Fighter pilots who are the same pilot skill of the CR-90. Now, one thing that there'd been some chatter, I think Phil reminded me of on the FFG forums, but I decided not to do just because it seems so stacked against the Rebels. I just didn't want to stack another thing. But basically, you can always go with adaptability to push their pilot skill to 1 higher.
Yeah.
Then the CR-90 for free, basically. Oh, I'm 1 higher, boom. Therefore, if you've got any Red Squadron pilots or the CR-90 that want to try to blast you for simultaneous fire, no, you can still shoot first and kill everything. So there's that. And when I've got a bunch of TIE Advance, and I kind of wanted to use TIE Advance. And having Merrick Steele is 1, but I've got I think 4 total overall with the Raider, and I went with Storm Squadron pilots because they're PS4 and even if they get blown to bits, they'll still get to shoot. And I thought it'd be great to go with cluster missiles and accuracy corrector. I mean, you probably could do advanced targeting, and that's pretty cool, and push the extra damage through a reinforce or something. But I wanted these guys to be able to not worry about having any dice modifiers on their attacks. Like if they get attack and it is higher, that's great, but they're probably just going to be using those accuracy correctors. And the rest of it's going to be used for defense, whether it's evades or barrel rolls or focus. And I wanted them to be able to go in and not get blown up on the way in, to go straight for the target and go for the satellite. So I went with 2 Storm Squadron pilots with cluster missiles, accuracy correctors, guidance chips, and of course the Tidal X1 that gives them the accuracy correctors. That was 2. And then I didn't have a lot of points after that, but I kind of like the idea of a little bunch of TIE fighters running around trying to blast things, make things difficult. So I went with Dark Curse because he's hard to kill. I went with Night Beast because he's got that kind of action economy. He does a green maneuver, he gets a focus, and he gets to do like an evade or a barrel roll to get the shot. Then I went with Chaser for 14 points because he can do an evade and grab somebody else's focus. And I figure with all the other 4 TIE fighters and everything else, there'd be enough foci floating around for him to grab. So that was my list at 99 points. I thought it was pretty good. I was pretty happy with it. Now, J-Bot, you want to talk about your list?
Yeah, obviously, like I normally do, I made this kind of on the spur of the moment, not really fully grasping the expected plan of this mission, but more like I didn't realize what the Imperials had to do, which not very much, but I
tried to let you know, you just ignored all this stuff.
No, I mean it's one of no, it's like, and we discussed this afterwards. This is. To me, it's very much a suicide run for the Imperials. So I didn't really take that into account when I was building my list. So I went a little off kilter. I don't normally play the same list twice. So I actually went with 2 B-Wings, loaded with a whole bunch of random crap, and an A-Wing with cluster missiles and auto thrusters, which looking back was useless, and veteran instincts to at least get to shoot first against his 4, because it was the pilot skill 3 one.
And I think that was good, but I think you should have gone with like concussion missiles instead of cluster.
Right.
Because you're going against like Agility 3 TIE fighters. Cluster is not really the best.
Right, and there's a couple things I'd probably do different now, assuming there's one big assumption that I'm making with what I would do to change the list, but the idea I had was to engage with the B-Wings. Obviously, I figured I was not going to get very far away from the Corvette, so I wouldn't need super fast ships. Like I'm just going to linger around this to protect. So I need kind of heavy hitting ships that could hammer through the agility with more dice. So I kind of loaded the B-Wings with things that would either make them hit with like accuracy correctors or fire control system.
Yep.
Or helped hit, I should say, and ordnance to kind of slow you down. Hence the ion torpedo thing. So that was my general idea. Looking back on it, I wouldn't. This is a question for you guys who know a little bit more about the rules. Can you tractor beam someone onto the Corvette, since it's not considered off the board?
Well, you can't ever overlap the Corvette.
So I'm guessing you can't tractor beam someone to bump it, or
well, see, like normally you can't like boost or barrel roll onto an obstacle, but with tractor beam you can. So my thoughts would be you could tractor beam someone to collide with the Raider.
Right, and assume that's true. If I had to do this again, I don't know that there really is a great win-win situation, but just for fun and giggles, I think I'd want to run 4 B-wings with tractor beams, and basically hover around the Corvette and say, "Come on, you got to run through this field," and I'm just going to do that with either accuracy correctors or fire control to, come on past that thing, because if you get close to it, I'm going to be doing everything I can to barrel roll you into that. Hey, I've got 2 or 3 ships firing. It's pew pew pew. There goes one. But I wasn't sure if that was true or not, and obviously I didn't take into account when I made that list. But long story short, he basically flew past me. I did as much damage as I could.
Well, wait. One thing I'll say is you did take flechette cannon on one B-wing, and I actually thought it actually was effective.
No, it was. The B-wing side of the map did a very good. The X-wing and A-wing side did not do good at all. The B-wing side, kind of hammer. I forgot who was a pilot skill 7.
Merrick Steele. You haven't remembered him all night, so
yeah, I couldn't remember any of their names. That's why pilot skill 7. Whichever
just think
one that
American
is.
Steel, Steel, American Steel.
So, they kind of hammered through him with the ion torpedo and flechettes and stuff. So he got squared off with that and was stressed. So after that, he couldn't do anything. He just drifted forward with no ability kind of to adjust his movement, and just I think the Corvette just took him out as he got close with
I had some
with the single
terrible
turbo
so I go turbo laser fired at Merrick Steele. I get 6 green dice.
Yeah, jeez.
Oh, blanks and focuses.
Because he had no foci or evades. He couldn't take them because of the stress. So the Corvette was not necessarily eating them up with the single turbos, but he had no way to kind of
and I couldn't get a single evade. It was you're really
it's like
horrendous.
With the singles, I was actually doing pretty well. I was hitting with 3 and 4 dice with the singles every turn, so he was definitely feeling those.
And I started rolling a little below average for almost all my dice.
Yeah, at the beginning, and then he started to come back. But in general, it was very much he flew past me. He shot at targets of opportunity if there wasn't a satellite to shoot at. But otherwise, it was kind of what you'd expect, straight for the satellites, and to heck with anything that's in front of you. Because when he's like, no, this wasn't a suicide run, I said, okay, well, let me look at my ships here.
Yeah.
The X-wing was down to it was down to 2 hull from 1 shot. Basically, he hit with everything. I didn't roll any evade. Both B-wings hadn't been touched. The A-wing hadn't been touched.
One B-wing had lost 1 shield.
Oh, he did lose 1 shield on the last turn.
Yeah, don't forget.
No, it was like second to the last or third to the last.
Fair.
It's the only person he could shoot at with that. It was either that or the fully shielded front of the Corvette. So it was one of those where he flew past me, and there was no real chance after that. He had so many guns on the remaining. I think if I had spread the tokens out a little bit better, it might have bought me a turn or 2. But in general, to me, it was a straight suicide run. It was just burn through, to hell with our losses, and we'll get enough, cannon fodder onto the targets before it's over with.
Yeah.
So
fast enough.
I rushed up and I went 5 forward as much as I could to get up there and get into things, and try to get within the long range of the CR90. His reinforce actions would really help out when he would put those on.
Yeah, those were really good.
But I kept trying to split my forces up as much as possible to try to really attack the satellites, because knowing reinforce only works on 1. It was a matter of getting around, and I was able to blow 1 token up, early, and then blow another one up.
The critical, kind of started the bad day.
Right. And once he started getting less energy and was being less effective, and then he started getting the criticals and stuff, and I started getting closer, and he couldn't do his single turbo lasers as much. He didn't even have the energy to shoot him as much. It got even worse. So then I started making pot shots at the rear of the CR90, particularly since he ionized me, and I could only go one forward.
Right, yeah, that was all he could
shoot at.
The rear of the thing was just... It's like, well, that's all I can shoot at. I'll shoot all 3 guys at the rear of the ship that has no agility or way to mitigate the damage. So,
so I was able to blow up the rear of the CR90, which was pretty.
It basically ended the thing. That's all. So that's pretty much it. But at that point, honestly, the only thing I could have done, because of the problems with the CR90 having no real close-in defense, but one gun on the back of the ship, it's like, I would get one shot a turn at all these ships, maybe 2 if I missed. So that doesn't really count as 2 shots on this gigantic ship. So it essentially has one of the biggest donut holes that you've seen outside of the donut on the top of that store in The Simpsons town, because there's nothing I can shoot. He's like, well, you've been shooting with the main gun at that one ship the entire game. That ought to tell you how well I was rolling against that one ship. Oh, look, 5 dice.
Oh.
Nope, 5 dice. Nope.
Well, so his dice finally evened out.
I did knock a shield off that thing. Let's not forget. Like the B-Wing, I did knock a shield off of it. So,
your dice early on was pretty horrendous, though. I mean, you were getting like max.
Oh no, I was hitting well early, but late it was not pretty. And really, once you get close to that CR90, you're past it. So it can't do anything close except for the one gun. And if you're on the front of the ship, if you go by the front of it, it's done for. It can't do anything up close. So it's like all the rest of these missions, heavily slanted towards the rebels. Mm-hmm. I don't know what you guys would do to change it, but I know the first thing I would do is, if the satellite blows up and you lose energy, fine. But criticals to the ship should not be there at all. Like for one reason or another, you're let's say you're pushing a lot of energy out to slice these things and draw data. Okay, I get it. When that thing feeds back to the ship, it somehow blows out a capacitor. Whatever. I can sort of understand that, but not blowing up a beam that caves in the front of my ship. Like, wait a minute. How did I just lose my quad lasers? How did I just lose an entire engineering team because I had fuse blow in the back of the ship? Like, come on.
Well, you know what? I agree with you definitely on that, but I wonder if maybe the face-up damage. Well, no, yeah, you're right. Here's what I would do then. I would say maybe. Is there some tactics in where you place those satellites? Like, I'm assuming the one that's furthest behind
you just spread them out as much as you can. I mean, that's
spread them out as much as you can. Okay. Yeah. You don't necessarily want them closer to the Corvette or anything.
No.
Okay.
Right. Particularly
you need them
section.
as far out as you can, because all of your guns are 2 plus in general, 3 plus. I think. And
unless it's in the rear section, then you've got nothing that can shoot at range in the rear. So you might as well hug it close to the ship to try to force someone to be scared of bumping into the CR90.
Right. And we talked about it. There's no kind of edge restriction. So I guess technically I could take one of them and run it into the corner. Like just far into the far out corner, knowing that to get there, you're either going to have to, kind of fly past the ship like normal. But if you take like the most direct route and just run a guy up the sideline, I'm going to get a range 3 shot from the main gun, for example, every turn. You're not going to stay out of that range. But I put one right behind the ship, thinking I'll just put one right here. So he's going to have to kind of run over me, to get to it. And he did. He had to run 2 or 3 ships over the Corvette to get there, and it was kind of close on them whether or not.
Yeah, I did have some mess up, even like which order I did my things, because I forgot, and I was like, oh, that guy was going to cater, no, but I blocked him. Oh crap! Now he's facing the wrong way,
right. and there is tight space back behind the Corvette. So if you're just barreling as hard as you can and don't sort of plan ahead for the turn around the Corvette, you can kind of jumble yourself up back there.
Right.
And the rest of your rebel ships were circling around to come at me.
Oh no! If I'd had another 2 or 3 turns, it would have been a completely different mission. Like, I almost think this one should boil down to destroy the satellites, destroy the ship. Like, it's you need to do both, because then at least it gives you a chance for your ships that they had to run through the screen to kind of circle back around, or have some kind of chance to pull it back from, oh no, we lost the data, but we were able to at least destroy all the people attacking us.
Right. And you would keep destructive feedback in that case.
Nah,
I don't know. No. I'd get rid of
for
that.
that to be in there.
I would get rid of it.
I'd get
no
rid of it.
destructive feedback. No uploading data special rule where you're getting energy from the satellites.
How would you get energy otherwise? Because you're not.
Here's my thought.
Automatically assign 4 or 5 energy every turn.
Well, here's my
let
thought.
The Corvette move.
Here's my thought on that. Is say the Imperial player keep everything the same, and I don't know if this would necessarily fix the suicide idea, but say that everything's the same as it is now, minus the critical damage, minus that. I could see it you blew one up, you drain 1 energy from the from the main thing, something like that. But what I would do is the Imperials have to destroy those. And as soon as the 5th one's gone, the rebels need to make it off the map at some point, like some directional area. Essentially, need to get the Corvette off the map, as if it's oh crap, they're all gone. Let's get to hyperspace, sort of thing. And that's their goal, is to cripple the ship from that point. Is it's destroy these 5 satellites to stop the uplink, and then cripple the Corvette before it gets off the map. Then the moving lets you
one
get
section.
Then the moving lets you get the energy. That you would be losing from the satellites.
I think this would apply to every mission we've played so far. I really think it would be acceptable to give the CR90 one of the new modifications from the Gazanti. Like giving them those particular things would just help the CR90 out so bad, because every mission it is so
it's hurting bad.
Far behind.
It's really it's really hurting.
It's really hurting, and it needs every help it can get. If you give it a modification, any bit helps. Those modifications would just a breath of fresh air.
Yeah.
So
you can actually, when we get to mission 4, you can actually assign upgrades to the CR90, additional upgrades, but you assign upgrades for every mission that you won. So, catch is you have to have won.
Interesting.
At least 1 mission. So I'm gonna try and in my campaign playthrough, my mission is to prevent that from happening. So I can just curb stomp on that final mission.
Yeah, but I think those modifications would be huge.
Oh, they would totally help.
Yeah, because I'm just trying to think here. If I pull out, what are the modifications? So, automated protocols. Once per round, after you perform an action that is not a recover or reinforce action, you may spend 1 energy to perform a free recover or reinforce action. So basically,
that helps a ton.
Yeah, you could do all sorts of extra stuff. The rear section of the CR90 can only do the
reinforce
the
or
recover.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess that one isn't as much a big deal. Optimized generators. Once per round, when you assign an energy to an equipped upgrade, gain 2 energy.
Yeah, that would be massive for some of these things.
Huge.
I mean, just the amount of times you need that extra couple of energy.
Yeah.
Well, the thing about so many of these missions, here's you build the Corvette, you got all the modifications and crew on it, and so many of these missions basically make one or all of those cards obsolete, useless in the mission, because one of them, I don't remember which one it is, and this one gives you an extra energy if you take a straight move.
Energy team.
That's useless in this. You don't get to move.
Team.
So what's the point of that upgrade? It doesn't give me anything to help in this mission.
So you have the same set for every
mission.
Right,
but it's every mission has a similar sort of thing. So you can't build this ship kind of specifically for each mission. It's at a disadvantage because a piece of it in every single instance is useless. Like it's just kind of there. Even though I have a feeling they took the points into account in some way.
Yeah, they counted those points fully, I think, when they were balancing these for whatever balance of work they did with these. You know, there are like weird rules in this mission. Like, why are there why are the rebels unable to take any unique pilots? Is it Biggs again? Is it is it Biggs again? Because I'll tell you what.
It could be.
I played in my playthroughs. I played once with and without Biggs, and the end result was pretty much the same. So
interesting.
Although Biggs does help, Biggs helps a ton. I should say that. But so here's my playthroughs. For the Imperial list, I went with a very straightforward build. I went with 7 Academy pilots and Youngster with Rage. And then I gave all the Black Squadron pilots adaptability. And then we have Merrick Steele with his cluster missile and marksmanship. So I had 13 TIE fighters on the table. Which is a lot, guys.
Yeah.
That is a
lot. Are you allowed to have that many TIE fighters on this table?
Yeah.
I thought it was
not
12
in the Epic tournament.
No, that was
rules,
Epic. Epic rules
tournament.
are 12.
Yeah.
But this is just some crazy
I
scenario,
don't think it
and he's
applies
doing it
here.
on
right.
vassals, so he doesn't actually own 13.
I think I might actually, but anyway, that's a lot of TIE fighters, and they all had access to Rage, and I could safely fly Youngster in the back of that, sort of out of the range of most return fire. So that was my Imperial list, and the Rebel list was Wedge, of course, and then my without Biggs list is 4 Hawks with TLT and Recon Specialists, and with Biggs is Biggs with R2-F2 and Stealth Device, and then 3 more Rebel Operative Hawks with TLT, and I think 1 Recon Specialist on one of them.
Yeah, so I thought about that as well when I kind of made up a very unglamorous Rebel list, and I had at least one because I thought TLTs are going to be helpful to pound through damage and things.
Definitely.
But do you really want a Y-wing in the TLT? Because a Hawk 290 is cheaper. But then, oh, look, you actually get a crew slot. If you spend pretty much about the same points, you can get Recon Specialist. So you can get two focus because, you're not going to get attacked. So I thought, who cares about, what the defense is? And,
you don't need to be particularly maneuverable or anything. You just need to stick close to. Well, in my playthrough, I was playing with the assumption that the Imperials just go straight for the Corvette. And I was seeing if I could defend it with what I figured was the best, the optimal Rebel defense, which is something that is as shooty as possible and takes as many TIE fighters off the table as possible per turn. And at the same time, plus if we're breaking the rules of the scenario, has Biggs behind the Corvette, totally turtled up. And I'll tell you, without Biggs, the TIE fighters roll up on this Corvette. They're attacking directly on the midline. Corvette can't move anywhere. They blow up the 4 section in the first turn that they're in range. And then they get close to the rear section and they just blow that away through the reinforced token. And it's not particularly hard.
No, not with 13 TIE fighters.
It's great. And Merrick Steele. And Merrick Steele, just throw him in there too.
Yeah.
Giving you special crits. It's really awful.
Yeah.
And then with Biggs makes it a much closer thing because Biggs with Stealth Device, R2-F2, and a coordinated focus from the Corvette. So he's got a focus token. He's got at range 3. He's got 3 dice plus 1 from R2-F2 plus 1 from the Corvette plus 1 from Stealth Device. So that's six defense dice. every time he's being shot at until he gets hit, and he drops down to 5 defense dice.
Wait, why are you getting one from the Corvette?
Because it's like an obstacle shooting through it if he's on the opposite side of the Corvette. Oh, yeah.
Oh, we did now that in for our rolling when I shot a couple times over the Corvette.
Oh yeah, I thought I was like, isn't there something that makes it an obstacle? But
you can play them. You can just use them as obstacles, but even when they're normal ships, they obstruct attacks.
Okay.
Oh, I didn't know that. That makes sense. We didn't play it that way. We didn't.
Yeah. I mean, the rebels are gonna. It's hard for the rebels to lose this scenario, but it was just really brutal.
It'd be really hard for the Imperials to lose.
Yeah, right. It's hard for the rebels to win. Hard for the Imperials to lose.
All right. So 2 points. One deals with obstacles and the word obstacle. So the satellites count as obstacles. Now I know that if you're shooting through the satellite, someone behind it, because let's just say the rebels are shooting through the satellite at the TIE fighter because the TIE fighter is just going to shoot at the dang satellite instead.
Yeah.
But there's an extra green die. But what does it mean for flying over it? Doesn't that mean if you fly over it or land on it, you lose your action?
It does. Yeah, you treat them as an asteroid essentially.
Well, but no, because
asteroids use the generic rules for obstacles. They don't have specific asteroid rules.
Sounds like we need some seismic torpedoes here.
That was the good question.
Oh my god!
Yeah. You one shot it. Automatically range 1 or 2.
Well,
that was the good question. That was.
You know what? I think that would totally just take the. Yeah, you're right, Jake. They would. Those seismic torpedoes break the scenario pretty hard.
Right. Which is what Jake talked about his obstacle.
Bum. Chief engineer dropping the mic. Boom.
This begs the question now, since we've got two things linked. If we played a scenario where the CR-90 was just used as an obstacle, can I shoot it with a seismic torpedo? I mean, I've played a couple of games where it was an obstacle. I mean, and it was fun just having this gigantic lump of a ship out there. Hey, wait a minute! It just says it's an obstacle. I mean, that's a pretty big blast radius on that thing.
Yeah,
do not underestimate that seismic torpedo blast.
Yeah.
Little did they know. Can I use it as one of my 3 obstacles when I play a normal deathmatch game?
No. Not when it's a tournament. Blah, blah.
Dang.
Oh man,
I was totally going to be ready for the tournaments now. Oh, I can place my obstacle. I'm just going to put this right in front of your deployment zone. Good luck.
Yeah. Yeah. So when Jake talked about his favorite torpedo, that's when Jake and I were like, "Oh, that makes me think of something." But
right. Well, that does. So I mean, it does. It makes you wonder. Obviously, it wasn't planned for the scenario to have that missile that came out many years later, but.
Right. Also, that really screws with a lot of scenarios. Probably, I know it screws with a lot of mine. Like I have tons of things in my scenarios that count as obstacles. It's like half the special objects that I have in scenarios.
Now, you just have to write a thing and counts as an
now I have to add a seismic torpedo clause to like every game I've ever written.
The seismic clause.
Yeah.
Because you could still shoot if you land on a debris field, and a debris field is an obstacle. So I always thought that the not shooting part was something of just the asteroid.
Yeah, asteroids use generic obstacle rules, I believe.
And debris fields have their own
special rules, right?
Okay. So if you land on it, you can't shoot. All right. So that was one thing, and then another one we were talking about the modifications. So. How do you think, particularly J-Bot, if you could replace, let's say, a single laser turret on the CR-90 with an ordnance tube for anything from, like, I don't know, a proton torpedo to an ion torpedo or assault missile?
Yeah, to me, the reason I took the ion was knowing that I'm going to see a whole bunch of ties on the other side of this map. And they're more than likely going to be clustered relatively close to one another. So I was like, okay, 4 dice has an average chance of hitting for me, especially if I add on all the other junk to it.
But don't forget this. Don't forget that you wouldn't need any energy to fire that weapon.
What does it use? Just target lock? As long as you have a target lock,
Yeah, as long as you have a target lock, you get your action target lock.
That is nice.
So imagine how many missions where you've been really short on energy and such, where if you just didn't have to worry about it, all you had to do was target lock, and you could fire, energy free. And let's just say you've got the weapons team, you could spend an energy to adjust one die roll.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Any
of those, do you think, how about even ion torpedo, proton torpedo, any of those missions, do you think would be a lot easier if you were able to take ordnance tubes and replace one of those single
absolutely. I mean, I would, just because of what we mentioned earlier, I'd probably load the thing with as much as I could. Can I put ions in the thing, ion torpedoes, or is it only missiles?
No, it's any ordnance.
Yeah, I'd probably put those in it just because at least it gives me a chance to slow down. And it hits. I mean, they hit pretty hard, but it gives me a chance to slow down enemy ships with it. And if you can doll it up with if we took away the restriction on named pilots, which seems a little odd to me, there are ways to get some multiple target locks out there, which is pretty powerful when you have. I didn't realize you could fire them for no energy. Yeah, that makes a pretty powerful change to the ship.
Particularly
I can fire one or two a turn, and
fire
one or two a turn and be doing pretty well with it. Especially since you can target lock with the big ship out to range 5 with the standard.
What I would say, what I would change with this campaign is you'd be allowed to get one of these modifications, and obviously the first automatic protocols doesn't really do anything because the rear section can only do with those 2 free actions you get. But you can do optimized generators, which means if you put energy on a subsystem. Wait, what?
I think that automated protocol is still. I mean, it's still nice. I mean.
Well, okay, because what you get 2 actions.
No, you're right. I mean,
you get 2 actions.
Well,
the front
no.
does
Okay, so here you go.
Or target lock.
No, it still does work. Okay, so let's say that you have 2 actions with your Corvette at return, right? One with the front, and one with the rear.
Yep.
So with the rear section, you do a reinforce action as your normal action. Then with your front section, you do a target lock, and then you spend 1 energy to do a free recover or reinforce action.
Can't do it.
Why not?
After you perform an action that is not a recover or reinforce action.
Yeah, with your force section, you do a coordinate or target lock, and then you do this.
Oh, so you're saying you get both?
Yeah, totally possible.
Well, all right. That way would let you do both. All right. So if you did it that twisting way, you probably could do it.
It's twisting, it's normal.
Twisting by the rules way.
No, because I thought it was
not exactly like a weird twist.
I think it is because the way I treat it is if the rear. Anyways, yeah, I just figured that that you can't do either of those if you've got a jam or you've got some other various action. But anyways, so let's just say you can do it that way, or you've got optimized generators. So if you put energy into one of your subsections, you gain 2 energy, which is great and could help you do so much more. Or with ordnance tubes, you can replace one of your secondary weapons with 1 ordnance that you'd then pick for the rest of the campaign. So if you pick assault missiles or ion torpedoes or whatever you pick from the get-go, that's what it is for 1 weapon. And if you're looking at it, there's 2 single tube lasers in the front and 1 quad in the rear. I mean, the obvious choice is to replace one of the single laser turrets in the front with an ordnance tube with whatever your choice of ordnance is, and have for the rest of the campaign, you get that. And I think that is a valid change to make in the campaign. It would bring a lot more survivability, game balance, etc. It would improve the campaign overall, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's lots of ways to improve the campaign overall. That certainly would.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, how would we change this mission at the end of the day? What would we do to fix this mission? For me, I think that number 1, right away, just take away destructive feedback and the upload data special rules as they're written right now.
Yeah.
Get them out of here. What are you even thinking? It's
right,
hard enough
they
as
punish
it is.
you. It's hard enough as it is, and they punish you for losing. You know, it's almost like
and they don't even make sense thematically.
Uploaded data, they almost need to do it reverse. Like you're spending too much energy to support these satellites, and once they're dead, you gain more energy.
Yeah. I don't see why the Corvette has to be sitting still. Let it move. I guess we would also change the play area to something more practical. A 3x6, and maybe change the satellite deployment to you have to deploy them at those range. Maybe keep the range bands and make them just change it to range 1 to 5 of the Corvette itself,
or even can't be within range 3 of each other.
Yeah, exactly. That would totally be fine too. Protect the satellites and reinforce the satellites is fine, I think, as special rules. It's probably worth beefing up the satellites a little bit too. Make them a little harder to destroy.
If you've got the modifications going on, that might be all right. If you've got ways to conserve energy or to improve your actions.
They have a whole deal in there about essentially protecting the satellite by feeding the shields on it. But it can only carry 2 shields.
Yeah, it's not really that much.
That's not that much, and stuff can burn. I mean, even the reinforced, he was burning through the shields and stuff pretty quick on it. And in a sense, burning the entire pile of shield or energy tokens that you have on your ship to give it 2 or any given one 2 is not very helpful to me. I mean, I could almost say, hey, let me put as many shield tokens on it as I want. If I want to put 5 on there, then let me put 5 on it.
Yeah.
Because I'm giving energy away from my ship in order to do it.
But
in a sense, you're kind of hamstringing the Corvette in order to do that. But then as soon as everything gets in close and they're inside your donut, that's your only option, really. It's hey, I'm feeding absolutely everything I get every turn to keep one of these alive.
Right.
And long enough
here's what
for my
I think,
other ships to circle around.
Let's just say you get 5 energy every turn, and you still don't move. You just sit there and you can't move, and you get 5 energy a turn or 4 energy. You get the energy. You get to then disperse it to various subsystems, and whatever's left on the main card is what you then replenish the satellites with. So if you've got, let's say, 5 energy a turn, which I'd be fine with since we're talking about things change, just make it 5, and it doesn't change at all. You then power up your subsystems and just leave 2 shield on the main card, or 3 because you want to fire the main guns and do something like that. And then you've got the 2 extra for your action that you spend. Then boom, you replenish the shield on one of those things.
But is it more effective to replenish 2 shield or put 1 reinforced token on?
Oh, or did you take the protocols, automated protocols, where you could do both?
Well, yeah, if we're going to start throwing modifications on there, that changes things entirely.
Well, but that's what I'm saying. If we do, though, I think it really changes things significantly, and that is kind of what I'm saying. I think if you do go with the modifications, that you do make this mission a lot more better.
Yeah. I would also have the uploading data, have a data upload rule in there. Something, same name, but completely different mechanics than what they have in there right now. Where the Corvette is actually, getting like data tokens, say tracking tokens. It's collecting tracking tokens from the satielites, which makes thematic sense with what it's supposed to actually be doing in this scenario. And it has to you gotta collect them all and then leave.
I think
is that crazy, guys?
No, I could see it being. I could see it being something like it doesn't even necessarily need to leave; it just needs to get it. But have it be something like it gets 1 per turn per satellite still alive, and it needs like 30 of them in order to essentially win the scenario.
Whatever. Yeah,
whatever.
If I was running
a balancing number.
Yeah. If I was running this mission from scratch, I would have it where the Corvette start on one end of the map, and then have satellites spread out across the rest of the map, placed maybe by the Imperial player. And then I would have the rebels be required to fly the Corvette to each satellite, or maybe like a certain percentage of the satellites, say like 4 out of 6, get data from each one at like range 1. So it has to like get close to each satellite, and then either fly off the board edge or do a hyperspace action or something, whatever.
I could even see leaving it this whole deployment and setup as it is now, and basically you get your number of tweets per round based on the number of satellite tokens that are left, and then once you have the magic number 20, 30, whatever it is, you then have to flee off the board edge, which then makes it so that the Imperials have to blow up the satellites, but they also have to blow up the ship at the same time.
Yeah. I mean, you have to make it a little more difficult for them to blow up the ship, because I think it's just easy to blow up the ship right now. But yeah.
The way it sits there. I mean, if you stick with that idea, but say it can move, you just say, hey, the thing can move.
That helps a lot.
It tends to help quite a bit, because instead of starting with your flank turn to the thing, although that tends to be the best way to fire the guns off of it, you can, oh crap, let me adjust what's going on here to either cause them to need to move and dodge around it, or to protect a certain piece of the ship that's getting messed up. So
I think that'll work.
I think there are definitely ways to make this better and less of a just clear out suicide one.
It's not hard to make this scenario better.
No, I think Phil. Yeah, Phil, your idea is fantastic. Just that little bit that you just shared there was very thematic. I'd go for it.
But also, if the rebels run over a satellite with the CR-90, they destroy it.
Yeah, no, see, that's where you should have that damage.
I like it.
That's where you have the
the
damage feedback.
Sure. Well,
that's where the damage feedback comes
just
in.
the normal rules for running over an obstacle are that you get a face-up damage card.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
I lost my Twitter feed. The ship is collapsing. It is powered by the internet.
Yeah. Apparently, the ship is collapsing when you lose your Twitter feed. Apparently, a little hacker threw a tantrum and accidentally knocked over a support beam in the front of the ship.
They hadn't quite been repaired yet from the previous missions.
Right, yeah. I guess that's true. I mean, the ship has been destroyed like 2 or 3 times through the missions. Maybe it is just kind of stuck together with duct tape and bubble gum that, once some guy's like, oh, God, and he jumps away from his console and leans into something too quick, and it swings down and destroys the whole floor. We just fixed that, you idiot.
Yeah, that's a good point. That in this mission, the Imperial victory is destroy the Corvette. Well, that's one option anyway. So, like, if you're playing this campaign through, and it's supposed to make sense thematically or something, like, what is the idea if the Imperials win this mission? Isn't it good night? I mean,
I think what you should do is you need to destroy all satellites and cripple one section of the ship.
Yeah,
I think that's better, because the idea is really that.
But still, you saw how relatively easy it was in our game, where you were shooting at the satellites directly when you had a shot, and then if I don't have a shot, I'll shoot at the CR-90 because it's there and it's in range. And there's so little it can do that, I've got accuracy correctors on like 3 ships. Oh, there's 6 damage a turn to whichever side you want.
All right, but I think we change it so that the ship can move, and they can take specials. So you've got people like Biggs or whatever that can.
Yeah, you do stuff in addition to that for balancing. Like maybe fewer Imperial points, more Rebel points.
I think more Rebel points would matter.
That would be nice.
Yeah. And their ability to take special.
Yep. That's good. It's good ideas.
Yeah. And they get modifications. I love that.
Free to build a Corvette as you wish. That would be nice.
Oh,
just giving points for the Corvette.
I don't even know why you have to have a set build.
That's the
they're rebuilding the ship between every mission anyway. So why couldn't we throw some ordnance tubes in those spots that got blown out of it in the last mission?
Well, no, I could still see you build the ship you want, And
at
that's
the beginning
how
of
it is
the
through the through the
yeah.
campaign. But at least
that
it
makes
builds
sense.
better. I mean, there's more weapons out. There's there's ion cannon batteries. There's
Yeah, or maybe
there's these modifications.
maybe you can you start with one build. You at the start of the campaign you build a Corvette the way you want with X number of points, and then after each mission maybe you can change one upgrade. That would be cool.
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah, that would.
Or
be
maybe
cool.
if you win, you can change one upgrade.
Yeah, there's enough time in between missions.
Maybe.
I even if you didn't change it, just building your own, I'm fine with that as well. Because I don't want to tweak it too much for each specific mission. You're like, oh well, now I'm going to go the Ion. Now I'm going to go there. That might be whatever. I'm fine with even just doing it all. This is it for all of them.
Yeah.
But you get more freedom. Like you don't have to take 2 single turbo lasers or there's a lot of options you could go with.
Yeah.
All right. So I think that might cover our episode tonight. Tonight might actually be one of the shorter episodes, but maybe not.
We'll see.
All right. Well, this continues our trek on the CR90 campaign, but I think it's got some overall better fixes for all of the overall missions. So make sure to listen to this one before you start.
Yeah.
All right. So I think that should about cover it tonight, guys. I had a good time. It was a good one. Good episode.
Yep.
Yeah,
good
absolutely.
Hustle.
Yeah, very good.
Yeah, not too bad at all.
And I did finally get the graphic Jake the Brake, so I'll be able to start those T-shirts, and I'll put that announcement out. So make sure to pay attention to Facebook, FFG, everywhere that I can plaster it to see about getting some Shuttle Tydirium T-shirts. Cool. All right, guys. That's it. Have a good night, and we'll